This is a sad case. Sit down. Pay attention to me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Herron, this is your daughter, I assume.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant, who is the mother of this young man, I assume.
Yes, I am.
Because you say that her son made your daughter pregnant. She had a miscarriage. Your medical bills for the miscarriage were almost $2,000, and you want her to pay half. Is that what this lawsuit is about?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'd like you to step up here. You too. When did your daughter tell you she was pregnant?
The date was, when was the date? I don't,
End of September, I believe.
it was around the end of September. That's when I learned of it.
Were you dating?
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
I know what the lawsuit is with regard to Mr. Herron. I'd like to hear from you as to why you don't believe you should be responsible for half of these medical bills. Your son is how old, 16?
16, yes. First of all, I don't believe that I'm responsible for half these medical bills because there was never a paternity test to prove that Dontrell was the father. Plus, all the stress that her dad put on her after he found out she was pregnant. I think it was about the latter part of August, I got a call from Mr. Herron telling me that Denise had got caught shoplifting a home pregnancy test, and he was really upset and telling me that he had been nice to Dontrell and Dontrell had took advantage. And when I told him, well, it wasn't all Dontrell's fault, and then he tells me, well, yeah, she's the one that came to your house like a common and laid up with them. And so then the next thing I know, she's crying, saying that he had beat her.
Who beat her?
Her father, because he wasn't gonna let her have a, can I say the word?
I would prefer you didn't.
Okay, well, baby. And she stayed with her friends' houses, and even my daughter was concerned about her and was gonna let her stay with her because she was going through a bunch of turmoil. And I feel that all the stress that he put on her, and first of all, you know that being pregnant for the first time, you're scared as it is.
Well, it should, how old are you?
16.
16?
And to have undue stress and pressure put on you by someone that's supposed to be protecting you then. So I feel that he caused the miscarriage by all the stress, and that there was never a paternity test to say that Dontrell was a father. I don't see how he can tell me that I'm responsible for half the medical bills.
Mr. Herron, I'd like to hear from you.
Yes. This is absurd for them to even suggest that her son is not the father. It's an insult and it's appalling.
Well, I don't think it's an insult and it's appalling, Mr. Herron, at all. Quite frankly. I'll address that. I'll address that first, and then I'll get to the stress part.
I would like to say that my daughter has been an honor student for her tenure in school. She's currently the treasurer of her high school. She was elected that. She doesn't sleep around or fool around or anything. This was the only boy that she had been seeing. And the first time I met this young man was he had been arrested for drugs at his junior high school. Helen here, she's pulling, anything, this stuff about beating Denise is just totally absurd.
Is that true, sir?
It's absolutely not.
Did your father hit you? Did he? Mr. Herron, what Ms. Brown is saying is not so bizarre as you may think, sir. Two 16-year-olds having sex, unprotected, whether it was with him or with anybody else, is stupid. Two 16-year-olds having sex is stupid. Two 16-year-olds having unprotected sex is more stupid, or as my grandson would say, stupider. So, while I'm certain that Dontrell would probably stand up here and proclaim from the rooftops that this was his baby, is that right?
Yes.
Well, even after the miscarriage, they stopped by the house. She even offered to help Denise raise the child. you know.
His mother is a little more practical. His mother says, I'm not sure, because 16-year-old
Well,
with all that testosterone flowing says, yes, the baby is mine. His mother says, how can you be sure?
well, it's the only thing she has for her defense. This is her defense in chief, and it's all she's got.
Well,
But
Mr.
she
Herron,
doesn't
it's a
want to pay.
very
She-
good defense,
when,
sir.
Well, when I asked her to, you didn't offer, you know, a dime, and she knows deep in her heart. She professes to be a Christian and to come to this court and even suggest that he's not the father.
That's not what she's suggesting, sir. She's not suggesting that he's not the father.
But there's a possibility that,
What she's saying is, under the law, in this jurisdiction and in every other jurisdiction, when you have a child out of wedlock, there is no presumption as who the father is. And in order to determine that, we now have very sophisticated testing to determine parentage of children. You know about those tests. They're blood tests, they're DNA tests, and they can prove within 100% who's the father of that child. What Ms. Herron is saying is, under the law, there is no proof that Dontrell is the father of this child. When you're married, it's a different story. When you're married, the law presumes that you are.
so we're left to go with a preponderance of the evidence here, which my daughter doesn't sleep around. They know that. They know what kind of girl she is. She doesn't have time for it. She's an honor student. She's, you know, keep track of her, you know, as best
You
I
didn't
can
keep
most
track
the
of
time.
her very well, sir.
But if
Well,
she was such an
Just a
honest-
second, you
As
didn't
best-
keep track
as
of her
best-
very well.
Well, I said as best I can. You know, I do operate a business, and
Mr. Herron, that's what Ms. Brown is saying.
But if she was
Yeah.
such an honorable student and such an honorable person, she wouldn't have swore to tell the truth and then turned around and lied that you never beat her.
you're the one who's.
Because
So
why
don't,
did she-
listen to me, don't fight with each other. Did you tell Dontrell, who was your boyfriend, that your father hit you?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes, I was upset.
So you told that to Dontrell, that your father hit you. What did you tell him about your father hitting you?
What do you mean, what did I tell?
I want you to tell me what you told him.
I said that he was yelling and got mad at me and started hitting on me.
Where did he hit you?
Hmm?
Where did he hit you?
He didn't. I just told him that I was upset.
Well, why would you tell him that?
Because I was scared he was going to.
So what you did was you told Dontrell a lie. Is that
Yeah.
right? Hmm?
Yes.
Do you understand, Mr. Herron?
Yeah, I understand that I'm out $2,000 in medical bills for an instance that I'm not responsible for. And
Well, listen, you are responsible for it. You are responsible for it because this is your daughter.
yeah, I can't watch all the time just saying that she can't watch her son, but nonetheless, we're responsible for our minor's actions.
Absolutely
Now, I'm
right,
willing
sir.
to accept the risk, but why should the burden of this whole thing be placed on me?
Mr. Herron, if your daughter had not had this miscarriage, and if she had had a child, and if there was a paternity test, excuse me, if there was a paternity test, and if it was established that this young man was the father of the child, he would be responsible for the support of that child, along with your daughter, until the child reached age 21. Right now, what Ms. Brown is saying is that while she believes probably that Dontrell is the father of this child, she's not certain. And she's not certain because of the miscarriage, there is no opportunity to conduct blood tests. And they are not married, so the law does not presume her son is the father of this child. So she doesn't feel as if she should be responsible. And in the law,
Well,
she's...
she's certain. She knows. It's
How
the
does
only
she know?
She knows. If you ask her in her heart if she feels that there could be anybody other than her son, what would you say, Helen? Does Denise
What's
sleep
in my
around?
heart? I don't know what
Your heart-
Denise
you-
does. I
Ms.
don't
Brown-
watch
Well, tell the
Denise.
court what you think.
I don't watch Denise 24 hours a day, but up until this
Does you certainly
point,
don't watch him 24
Miss-
hours.
may I speak, please? I really, like I said, when all of this happened, Denise came to me and I opened up my home and I was there for her. And I really had hoped that she would be lady enough to tell the truth here. But if she can stand here and lie and say that he never hit her and he didn't put her out, why should I believe that it was my son's baby? Because it's so easy for her to tell one lie, she could have told another lie.
Well, what she's already done is she's acknowledged here after some prodding that she did, in fact, she says, lie to your son about her father beating her. Now, whether her father beat her or not is really not the issue, but it is an indication that your daughter is able to lie, sir, because she says she lied to him. You understand that? And I understand where you're coming from. You say, listen, there should be two people's responsibility. I absolutely agree with you, Mr.
Quite
Herron.
a bit of lying going on. It seems as if Mr. Trell here would be following in his father's footsteps, who I guess is...
What does his father have to do with
Mr. Herron, don't bring... I would suggest, sir, that you not bring other matters into this case which really bear no relevance to it. Dontrell, I'm going to tell you this. You believe that you were the father of this child?
Yes.
Then you pay back Mr. Herron. Do you understand?
Yes.
Then you, sir, have a moral, if not a legal obligation, to do that. Now, you go to school?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes.
What do you work at?
At a senior citizens home.
How much do you get paid?
$5 an hour.
And what do you do with that money?
Oh, I haven't gotten paid
Speak
yet.
up, sir.
I haven't gotten paid yet, ma'am.
When did you start working there?
It's just a summer job.
And you're going to keep that summer job?
Yes.
Well, then I would suggest, Mr. Brown, that if you want to try to get back into this family's reasonable graces, you're never going to get into their good graces, but reasonable, and assume some sort of moral responsibility for an act that you probably had something to do with, you will see to it that each time you get a paycheck, Mr. Herron gets a check or a money order. Do you understand?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
What are you looking at? Where are you looking? All over the place. Your mother is quite correct. She's not responsible because they're not able to establish, because there's no baby here, that you're the father of this child. If you believe that you are, sir, you pay for it. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Well, are you going to do it?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
No, I don't. Just a
And I'm
minute.
the only one lying here?
Just a second. I'm telling you this. I don't know whether you two young people still see each other, either with your parents' knowledge or without their knowledge. But if there is any remote possibility that you will have a long-term relationship, any, you better start paying back Mr. Herron. And listen to me, Denise. Look at me. I'm not going to ask you whether you still see him, because I'm not going to create any more difficulty than already exists. But if he doesn't start making those payments, starting this week when he gets paid to your father, I would suggest to you that he does not have the kind of character that you want to hook up
The
with.
preponderance of the evidence suggests here that if he says that he's the father, I know that he is, Denise knows, Helen knows. But wouldn't the preponderance of the evidence indicate that I should get some kind of judgment?
Absolutely not, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely not, sir. There is not a
It's
preponderance.
as
Listen
much
to me.
in her favor as it is in mine.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You could bring anybody in off the street and say, I believe that they're the father of this unborn child. I want to be paid half of my outlay of medical costs. The only question that I asked your daughter here today, Mr. Herron, was whether or not you beat her. She said initially no. Then we went back to her and I said, did you tell him that your father beat you? She said yes. Listen to me. You say it never happened. That means somebody is lying. Do you understand?
There's no record of violence at our house at all.
No, listen to me. Your daughter said, Mr. Herron, that she told Dontrell that you beat her. That was, therefore, according to you, a lie. Is that right?
What does that have to do with the responsibility of the medical bills here? This is what I'm suing for.
Mr. Herron, you wanted, in order for you to establish, to my satisfaction, by a preponderance of the evidence, sir, that this unborn child was his child, I would have to believe...
He said, I said it, she
no,
said it. She's the
I
only one
would
with
have to believe your daughter. In a situation where the law in this jurisdiction does not hold any presumption of paternity, I am not prepared to do that. The only thing I am prepared to do is to make a moral judgment that if this young man believes that he is the father of this child, then he has the moral responsibility at age 16 to defray some of the medical costs. But his mother does not have that responsibility because she is entitled to know whether her son fathered this child before she puts her hand in her pocket.
But yet I'm responsible for my minor. She's not responsible for hers. You know,
No,
It's-
sir, unfortunately, as the father of a daughter, that's true. That's true. It seems somewhat inequitable. That's what they have paternity tests for, sir.
could I suggest this? Without the paternity test to indicate that it's 1 in a million chance, is there a possibility of getting part of the judgment? I mean, instead of saying that I'm wrong totally, I mean...
What
she-
no, Mr. Heron, I just told you he's supposed to pay the whole $900 because that's half of your medical bills, $900 and some odd dollars. What is it?
With me saying that I think the baby is mine, but would it matter the cause of the miscarriage? 'Cause, like,
No. Doesn't matter the cause of the miscarriage, sir. That's what you put in your answer. You say because her father placed her under a great deal of stress. No. Listen to me. I'm going to get on his case. I want you to be quiet. What you're saying is because her father placed her under a great deal of stress, that caused the miscarriage. And therefore, you shouldn't be responsible. I want to tell you something. If my 16-year-old daughter came home pregnant, right, and the father, she said, was another 16-year-old who went to high school, I guarantee you there'd be a lot of stress in my household. A lot of stress. You got to learn to keep your pants zipped up, sir. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Keep yourself busy. Get 2 jobs. Think. Use your brain. You know, this is the time for you to use your brain. I know using other parts of your anatomy don't require that much effort, all right? But get 2 jobs because he's out money, and if what you believe is true, that you are the father of this child, if you believe that, then you have a responsibility, even at age 16, to help defray the costs. We understand each other?
Yes.
That's all.
Excuse you, may step